let's just get greasy. Let's get it. Let's go. What's good, fam? Welcome back to another episode on Katana Garage with your boy. You know what time it is. First off, I want to say Happy New Year. Thanks you guys for liking and subscribing to my videos. Also, you made it, so I want to say yay to that. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into it because you know we always come through with the builds, mods, and bolt-ons. Check it. Today we got a 2017 Hyundai Sonata in the building. I'm about to do a rear brake job on this. As you can see, I already got the car on jack stands, got the wheels off. I went to the local auto parts store. You can grab these at any local auto parts store, and you know what I mean, pretty cheap and inexpensive. You can just get them. Without further ado, let's show you the tools that we're gonna need. You're gonna need this special screwdriver here. It's an impact screwdriver. You're gonna need that to release the brake rotors from the hub. Also, you're gonna need a very large hammer. So let's do it. Let me show you how you get it done. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and remove your calipers. Get yourself some bungee cords to support the calipers when you remove them. I already went ahead and took out the bolts. So you're gonna take out the bottom bolt first, and then take the top bolt out as well. That's gonna be a 13mm socket and wrench. Sometimes the bolts might become a little bit stubborn on your first initial pass, but just keep going at it. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Hit it with some PB Blaster or WD-40 and you'll be Gucci. So here we go. Got the caliper off. Go ahead and just suspend it with my bungee cord somehow. If I could get a good suspension here. Just tie it somewhere really, so it's not dangling, putting any stress really on the brake line itself. Just tie that up real good. Just like that. Just leave it off to the side. Just be sure not to leave it hanging though, because you will break that brake line. Next thing, you want to get that screwdriver that I talked about. And it looks just like so. And it's an impact screwdriver, so you hit it with the hammer and it turns the screw here located inside the rotor. So let's do that. Get my hammer and my Phillips. Punch that in there. This one has two, so as you hit it, it's gonna turn. It's a good idea also to engage the parking brake. I'm gonna do that right now. So what that does is stop the rotor from turning, because now the shoes are able to hold the brake rotor from inside the assembly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get them loose right here. I'm doing this at home, so that just shows you that this is feasible. You can do it at home. It's really not that hard. Just like that, it's loose. See that? Beam in there. There it is. If you try to turn it, it won't come out. See, so you gotta hit it with this tool. Just like that. And then before you try to take the rotor off, you wanna release the brake shoes. But because I already have the parking brake engaged, I'm gonna just go ahead and do the other side as well. So let's go around to the other side real quick. hit it up over there. Here we are on the opposite side. Just gonna loosen them. We're here already. Why not? That one's loose. That one's loose. And pretty much without this thing, you're not getting these rotors off. So yeah, pretty cool tool to have around the garage. Comes in pretty handy. I think it was like $9 or something, $10 maybe at Harbor Freight or something. I remember. Now I'm gonna go ahead and release the parking brake, because if that's still engaged, you're not getting those rotors off because the inner brakes are holding them. So now you notice that I can spin the rotor freely compared to before. It wasn't working because the parking brake was engaged. And also you're gonna go over here and release those bolts as well. But I'm just gonna show you this step real quick because it's pretty much the same on both sides. So let's do that. So here we go. Getting the rotor off. Just like that. And here's those shoes I talked about right here. So when your parking brake is engaged, these are what are putting clamping force on the inner diameter of the brake rotor. So that's how your parking brake works. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get some grease on our pads. I mean, not our pads, or caliper. We're gonna rebuild it and give it like a nice little R&R. So we're gonna be taking the sliding part of the caliper off and kind of just giving it some lube as necessary. So here we go. Show you guys how I do that. I don't know if you can see this. Let's loosen this bungee cord. There we go. So pretty much what you're going to do is take these pads out. You're going to want to lubricate the back part of the contact points of the pads itself. And then also, this is a sliding caliper. So we're going to take the caliper bolts out, and then we're going to lube up the sliding pins or the guide pins for the caliper. So I'm gonna do that right now. I would have liked to take this whole caliper apart, but because I don't want to leak fluid anywhere, I'm just gonna do it on the car like this. But be sure not to drop the caliper or have it dangling by the bolt. All right. Let's get her new rotor. Just slap that on there. This one's not trash. See what the new rotors look like. Yeah, pretty cool packaging too. The local parts store. Nice. Not bad. They're nice and dark too. Have a nice coating on them, I guess, from the manufacturer, so pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that for price. Pretty cool. Duralast Gold. Yeah. Some break-in information on here. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, smack it. Anyway, we're gonna slap this on right now. Make sure the screw holes line up with the corresponding holes on the hub. Let's get it like this then. Just like that. Yeah, bungee cord. Bungee cord. Just like that. And it's a good practice to just reinstall the screws right away. That way you don't forget them or lose them. Because I've seen where people forget to put them on, Then you wonder why the hub's wobbling. Not your hub, but your rotor's wobbling when it's not engaged, when you're in motion. That's the reason why. So, I like my tools to get the job done faster. Just like that. Yeah, you don't have to screw them on too tight because they're just there to hold the rotor down to the hub. Just like that will do. Good. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can remove this caliper and take out the bolts. All right, this seems to be, let's see. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and take out the pads, rather than take out the whole assembly. So one pad at a time. Compressing the piston, moving the pad. One pad up, that's gonna clear these shims. Got one pad out. Yeah, this pad had a lot of scoring on it. Definitely bad. Get the other pad out. Yep. Alright, now we're gonna go over to the bench and see what comes in the new box as far as hardware. Let's see here. Oh, they got some shims, yay! And pads. I mean, you could really do this on the side of the street if you wanted to. Like, yeah, these are what pads are supposed to look like. They're all that meat. Yeah. 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 Okay, just make sure you got the right pads. So as you can see, the metal part with the metal piece sticking up, that part goes on the back where it contacts the piston. And then the part without the metal goes on the front. So in this case, they packaged back to back, front to front. So if I were to install them like that, that would be incorrect. So it's always in a pair, pretty much front to back, front to back. So you'll notice that these ones don't have that metal pin that I'm talking about. This signifies the back, and that's the front. So this will be a whole pair. Point to note. This is why we're professionals over here. Anyway, it's a good practice to replace the shims too. So these ones come with pins. Sometimes they're universal. I don't see that caliper using any pins. I'm just gonna replace the shims. And we're gonna get some caliper grease on there. I always have caliper grease. So after we go ahead and grab our pads, we're gonna go ahead and I like to use the old pads to kind of compress the piston into the caliper. That way it's not forcing the pad up too much, and we're gonna throw them away anyway. So we're just gonna use this to give us some kind of leverage to put the two pads in place. So now just go ahead, put the pad against the piston, just like that. Put the piston against something nice and firm. Like to use the strut mounting right there. And just go ahead and press it down in there until the piston is compressed all the way. Just like that. A little bit of force. Not too much. It's not that heavy. There we go. Piston is compressed. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall our new shims because we took the old ones out with a big difference. This is where the pad slides on. So if this is rusty, it's friction is just not smooth contact and application. So we're just gonna go ahead and replace those. So this one's gonna be installed to the rear most inner side of the car. So it's like this. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some caliper grease to the back side of the pad. That's where the piston is gonna hit. Just like that. Giving it a nice smooth application when braking. So just a little dab, nothing too crazy. Nice light little film. And we're gonna install the pad just like that. Also want to apply some grease to these contact points. And in this case, they're gonna be the front 2 fingers on the caliper. So you're gonna just contact right here. It's nice and light, nothing too heavy. You don't want grease all over the pad itself, only on this plate that's made for the metal to metal contact. So that's what you want to do. Go ahead and drop it in just like the first one. Now that we got the pads installed, you can come down here with the camera, you can see them. You just got to get them lined up properly, greased up properly, and make sure the shims are nice and set. And sometimes it can be a little tricky to line them up in there, but with much perseverance you can do it. Try not to shift the caliper as you slide it over the pad. So, on here, just slide it nice and gentle. There we go. And line it up with the bolt holes. And torque the bolt holes to the proper spec. You always want to start with the top bolt because it will help you to hold the caliper in place. Just like that. That's how you do the brakes. Like I said, can be a little tricky. Sometimes it's not as easy as it seems, but if you try, you will get it done. And then tighten them up, put the wheels on, and that's it pretty much. Repeat the steps for the other side and you're done. When bolts get tough, you had to treat them rough with a Super Modelo. Anyway, back to our regular proceedings. So I'm proceeding to loosen the bolts to the left rear caliper. Now, I'll be taking this out. So first I got the bottom out, just like that. I'm gonna get the top out. Sometimes it can be really hard, like in there, you know, but just take your time. Don't break anything. And just work them out. And there's the bolt. The other one. And remove the caliper. Kind of set it aside where it's secure, not moving. Just like that. Remove the rotor. This rotor, see it's time, yeah, it's pretty bad. How you can tell that the rotors are bad is when this surface of the rotor is not flat anymore. You can feel the ridges and lips with your finger. Also the edge of here. Once you can feel the edge with the lip, it's pretty much past its max diameter, pretty much toast. So, one of my trusty assistants would pass me that Barreca rotor. It looks pretty good. I like the packaging, I'm not gonna lie. Also, I like the matte finish on the rotor itself. It gives it a little bit of a sporty kind of look. I'm feeling that. Look at that. Look at that packaging right there. That's what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Yeah, but we're gonna try it out. We're gonna see if it actually delivers that max stopping power that it says it does. Yeah. Nice. Make sure the screw holes line up to the hub. Just like that. Run down the screws. Once again, you don't have to torque them to where you want to break them. You just want to snug them down. They're not gonna fall out. These are just to hold the rotor in place, really. So some applications you might not see the screws present. Don't be alarmed. Just like that. Just like that. After you got the caliper off and got the pads out, got your piston compressors in the caliper housing, you got your shims removed, it's time to go ahead and replace your shims with the new ones. It's a good practice to do that. It might be a little difficult. It might take a little extra time. Yes, I know. Boo-hoo. However, your braking application will be very impressive compared to what it used to be like. And it will be on par and on target, very smooth. So, just like that, you got our shims installed. I like to go ahead and bend them up a little bit because sometimes they get in the way of putting on the pad itself. So I like to, because these things act like springs as far as retainers go as well, to help the in application of the pad itself. So I kind of like to bend them up a little bit. So I got a little bit of room to play. Make sure it's seated within the housing. And once those are nice and set, we'll just go ahead and set our caliper nice and secure. Go ahead and prep our pads. How you prep them is simply by lubricating the contact plates with a light film of brake grease. So for this one, it's going to be riding on the front of the caliper. So you want to just lubricate the finger contact points just like that. Set that off to the side. And then for the rear pad, you'll notice, oh wait, this one was the rear pad, so this one gets a full greasing because the piston hits right in this vicinity. And then the forward pad gets 2 finger-like contact points, so this is where the fingers of the caliper hit when it's trying to apply the clamping force. So now that we got those on there, nice and greased up, ready to go, we got our shims in place. I'm gonna go ahead and install our new pads. See how thick they are. See the groove in there. Yeah, so let's begin. So make sure the pad is compressed, the piston is compressed all the way in. Make sure that your caliper housing and sliding pins are all level and flush. That way you don't have a crooked installation of the pad. Right there. So now you got them installed. Go ahead and flip it around. Slide it over. And just like that. It's ready to go. Always install the top bolt first, so that you can hold the caliper assembly in place and reinstall the bottom bolt. Make sure that the bolts are installed at least finger tight. Catch a couple threads before you continue torquing it down. You don't want to run the risk of stripping the housing of the spindle. I torque bolts a lot. Not really using my torque wrench. Probably gonna get some comments, but I torque bolts a lot, and I know that certain millimeter bolts get certain amount of foot-pound torque. So cuss at me if you want. Now we'll put the tire on.